Hello world and welcome to the House of Moyet. I am Jezlan Moyet, and I am live with you on Amazon to bring you a unique shopping show like no other. Our goal is to entertain, educate, and of course, yes, shop by sharing the stories behind the products I know you're going to want to check out on Amazon. We're able to bring you these discoveries thanks to production and team from EverTalk TV, which is America's first live streaming video talk show network. From our studio right here in West Hollywood, California, EverTalk TV has invited members of their community to participate in the Amazon Influencer Program, to share the stories of people that inspire them, and of course highlight products they love that they know really makes a positive difference in people's lives. I personally want to thank both Amazon Live and of course EverTalk for giving me this platform, as I truly appreciate the opportunity to bring value to my community of followers, to connect with you, and of course do a little shopping. So I encourage you to be a part of the conversation and of our community. Of course, right now more than ever, we really need that. So hi Emily, thanks so much for checking this out today. I wanted to share with you this collector's item right here in the spirit of Beverly Hills. So coming to you from West Hollywood, as I mentioned, I am right on the border of Beverly Hills, one of my favorite cities in the whole wide world. You know the song, right? Beverly Hills, that's where I wanna be. You know the Weezer song? Okay, yeah, no. I'm not a musician, I'm not a singer, but it definitely was my mantra. It was my goal when I was growing up in Michigan that someday I would be shopping the streets of Beverly Hills, that I would be calling it my home, the 90210. It was a great show. I basically knew this is where I wanted to be. And I'm happy to say this is where I am. Dreams do become a reality, and that's what's so unique about this place. And it's captured in the pages of this book that I wanted to share with you. So right on the cover is this great old vintage photo of the Bel Air Hotel. Now they say you go to the Bel Air to hide and you go to the Beverly Hills Hotel to be seen. Well, that's still true in 2020. On the back cover, we've got some other great Hollywood icons. Of course, the Fox Tower Plaza, that's right here in Westwood, right down the street, Rodeo Drive, and a crazy yellow Ferrari or Lamborghini, get it right, which is probably still parked on that street today. I see it there all of the time. So right here on the inside cover, it says Beverly Hills did not become celebrated, which is true. It was famous from the very beginning. Beverly Hills is where dreams that have come true live. And it's so true. There is something so magical about the streets of Beverly Hills. I mean, it's known for its luxury, for its wealth, for its opulence, but it's actually a really great city. Not only does it offer so many incredible restaurants and shops, it's a place where artisans can truly thrive as well. Now, in the pages of this book, you'll see some of the greatest artists of our time, not only actors, painters, writers, that call Beverly Hills home. What's interesting about this book is it starts right here on the plot that originally was the historical land of what we call the Flats, okay? So the Flats in Beverly Hills are south of Sunset. Now, if you're a fan of the movie Clueless, you know that might not be the neighborhood you want to be. Being north of Sunset, well, apparently that's where it's at. Either way, it's the 90210, and it's gorgeous. I'm not going to discriminate on north, south, east, or west Beverly Hills. I like it all. So just to share with you a bit about the introduction, it says, the name alone, Beverly Hills, conjures up visions of fame and fortune. Yes, it really does. And all the things which attend those enviable states: luxurious homes on winding tree-lined streets, blue skies, breezes scented with orange blossoms and jasmine, fashion, style, wealth, beauty, and glamour. And I will say this, what's been really interesting post these quarantine times here in COVID is that the trees and the flowers have truly blossomed without all the pollution and all the people in the neighborhoods. It is really, really thriving in a way that I've never seen before. Sometimes down the streets that are all named after trees, maple, palm, elm, they've planted those trees up and down the sidewalks of Beverly Hills. So of course on Beverly Drive, you've seen the iconic super tall, skinny palm trees, which we know and love. But then one street over, it can be all orange blossoms. And the next street, it's all jasmine blossoms, fig trees, lemons. What's really interesting about the city of Los Angeles in and of itself is that citrus really, really thrives here. And it's noted right here in the pages of this book, a lot of the history. Now, as I mentioned, Beverly Hills is one of my favorite places. And of course, Hollywood celebrities have called it home and one of their favorite places for a very, very long time. This was the Beverly Hills Hotel in 1923. The Beverly Hills Hotel is my favorite place to go in the city of Los Angeles. First of all, some people call it the Pink Palace. It's gorgeous, it's pink, it's right there on Sunset Boulevard, and you pull up and the valet is just gorgeous, and there's red carpets, and the second you walk in, you feel like you've time warped to 1942 in the height of old Hollywood. Laura Odegaard's coming in now, and she says she loves these live streams. Thanks so much, Laura. What do you like to do at the Beverly Hills Hotel when you go? Well, you can spend the whole day there. First, walk down the stairs just to the left of the entrance of the Polo Lounge, which is the iconic restaurant. There's a little breakfast counter. It seats maybe 12. Oftentimes you'll see the likes of Justin Bieber down there, Steven Spielberg, just having a cup of coffee and orange juice for a great basic breakfast. It's phenomenal. Of course, the prices are a little high, but it is worth it. But that potato pancake, you could write home about. Then you can walk down the hallways, and it's all palm leaves. You've seen that really iconic palm leaf, almost wallpaper that's really trendy right now on Pinterest and Instagram. Well, that's inspired by the Beverly Hills Hotel. They've got a great pool where you can sun and lounge all day in a cabana club. The restaurant is phenomenal. You'll see, Misha Barton and all the socialites sitting by the pool and sipping on their Arnold Palmers for the day and having a great guacamole. Of course, it's also home to the McCarthy salad, which is iconic in and of itself. In my opinion, it is the best chopped salad in the state of California. Oftentimes you can go to other events and they serve what they say is the McCarthy salad. It's great. We've got another viewer coming in. Hi, Elizabeth. Oh, she loves the Beverly Hills Hotel too. And that souffle. Have dinner at the Polo Lounge. And I'll never forget it. The first time I was at the Polo Lounge, I walked in. I was so nervous. And it's right back here in the back corner booths. And there's all these great images, just like this one, of the actors who have been there and sat in those booths and told those stories and the movie deals that have been done. And if those booths could talk, they would fill up the pages of every vlog and every TMZ show, I'm sure. But I sat in the back corner and I ordered a dirty martini. It was the first dirty martini I ever had right there at the Beverly Hills Hotel. And I'll never forget it. Warren Beatty, who was just right there on the walls in his glory in his heyday, walked in and sat down next to me. And it was just this breathtaking, iconic moment. Here's the man who's literally on the back of the menu, sitting down next to me, telling me these old Hollywood stories. And, with some of his great friends, great socialites. And I recognize I've had a very unique opportunity, being that I live here in Los Angeles and I call Beverly Hills home. But the stories that they shared with me were so special. It's been home to some of my favorite memories. The night before the Oscars, two of my best girlfriends and I, we showed up at this very hotel. Of course, it looked a lot different then. Army of paparazzi were outside. And we realized, wearing our Target dresses and Zara, that we were slightly underdressed for the occasion, being that it was the night before the Oscars, of course. The Motion Picture Television Fund was hosting their annual ball. Well, we went in on the arms of some socialites, who of course shall remain nameless, and got to experience the glitz and the glam of the true Hollywood elite. And let me tell you, it was a night for the books. And it was right there at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Skimming through just a couple more pages of this book, Ginger Rogers, showing an illustration of her residence there. Some great family photos where Hollywood lives, yes, we know, and where they shop. Well, most people like to come and take pictures on Rodeo Drive. Of course, they say right here, it's only make-believe, Beverly Hills reimagined for entertainment. Well, it feels so good, too good to be true, that one would think it's make-believe, but it's really just Beverly Hills. Again, these are some of the tree-lined streets that I mentioned earlier that I have the luxury of driving down when I'm on my way to this very, very studio here in West Hollywood. This is Doheny right here. And one of the oldest families of Beverly Hills built this incredible estate called the Doheny Estate, Greystone Manor. And it's in the pages of this book as well. We've got some pictures right here of an old movie set, Charlie Chaplin and Will Rogers Memorial Park. It's just incredible how inspiring this place is too. I mean, when you're driving down the streets or walking down Rodeo Drive, you understand why Beverly Hills was so inspiring to all of these creators, to the actors, to the directors, to the producers, why these stories were told here, why this became Hollywood. It all makes sense. Again, just scrolling through some of the pages of this book and seeing the icons, the actors, the restaurants, Nathan Ailes that's still there, this super famous deli, this Jewish deli that, well, rumor has it, was going to move to, down the street where producers, Spago was, or anyway. Hopefully they keep it right there because we want to keep it just as it is. Okay, so I mentioned Clueless earlier. Just so happens that Cher made the pages of this book and I didn't even know it. Look how cute she looks with her Fendi bag. And on Rodeo Drive, of course, it inspired films like Clueless. Those of you who are watching, what are some of your favorite Beverly Hills movies? Beverly Hills Cops, 90210, The Show, Melrose Place. That was a great one. Anyone else? Okay, we have a question from the viewer. What's the best thing you've ordered at the Beverly Hills Hotel? The souffle, hands down. The souffle. It is worth it. Calories do not count. Be sure you tell your server at the beginning of your meal that you're going to want to order the souffle. Now, I like to get the half and half, whether that's the vanilla and the chocolate or the orange and the chocolate. Best of both worlds. You are not going to want to miss that. And get it a la mode if you can, because everything's better a la mode. I mean, some of these estates are just so absolutely incredible. And I love that they were captured and shared in this book. You know, it's the 100th anniversary edition. And I really hope that in the next 100 years that just the legends of Beverly Hills will live on, just like this Ferrari. I mean, come on. And look at Paul Newman. What a babe. Seriously, a stud right here. I mean, this is really great. This is the Chasins. What's ironic about this is it's directly across the street from this very studio. Where I sit right here on Beverly Drive in Doheny was the old Chasins. Now this was a Hollywood haunt, just like the Beverly Hills Hotel, and now it's a grocery store. Yeah, that's what happens in 2020. But you know, it's books like these, especially the anniversary editions that are sold right here on Amazon, that maintain the allure and the history of some of our favorite cities, not just Beverly Hills, but of Paris and of London. Now this, of course, is one that I want to put on my coffee table so my children and my children's children know the place that I like to call home. They can ask me to tell the very stories like George Burns probably could over his cigar. Now, of course, mine will most likely be told from the vantage point of the Beverly Hills Hotel, but you just never know. We've got Bruce Willis right here who calls Beverly Hills home, and just a few others. I mean, it's just truly one of the most captivating coffee table books. I mentioned again the Doheny Estate earlier, and this was capturing one of the pools there. It's so beautiful, such an inspiring place. Of course, it's home to some of the most iconic award shows right here at the Beverly Hilton, where the Grammys have happened, the Oscars have happened. We've got Brad Pitt right here. The Beverly Hilton Hotel hosts many of the city's most glamorous award ceremonies. Brad Pitt and Matt Damon at the right present the Motion Picture Showman of the Year Award at the 39th annual Publicist to Jerry Weintraub. Ooh. So good. It's always fun to go to the day before the event so you can see all the scaffolding, what makes these red carpet events, and all the publicists as they're lining up, the army of paparazzi outside. I mean, it can be impossible to get in, but if you can see it the day or two before, you get a sense of how expansive these award shows and the events might be. So as I mentioned earlier, this is the Beverly Hills Hotel and that breakfast counter that I love so much that I've seen Justin Bieber at a time or two. It's so great, and look at the iconic palm leaves as well. There's something about that Beverly Hills pink. It's just straight out of the hills of a postcard. It says, the Beverly Hills Hotel, which predates the creation of the city itself. Get that. The hotel is older than the city itself. Is a legend in its own right, absolutely. Since its completion in 1912, the hotel grounds, including the Polo Lounge, the historic pool, and the famed bungalows, have served as central meeting place for local hotshots. Of course. Though it has been beautifully renovated, the Fountain Coffee Room, the breakfast room, remains a throwback to early years, still serving sodas, floats, malts, and shakes that were popular all the way back in the 1950s. So worth it. It's tempting to call Beverly Hills the Rolls-Royce of neighborhoods, but that would be giving short shrift to the Bentleys, Maseratis, Aston Martins, and other luxurious chariots that also traverse its shimmering avenues. Hilarious and so well said, LA Confidential. And nothing's better than when an awards show, red carpet, black tie night ends up in a pool party as captured right here, almost in the centerfold of this book. Again, this book is The Spirit of Beverly Hills, and well, this is definitely everyone in the best of spirits. Party thrown by Nick Nolte at that. Wow. Absolutely iconic. We've got the world premiere of Bette Davis and Errol Flynn's The Private Lives of Elizabeth and Essex. How beautiful is that? Can you imagine Hollywood really in its heyday? How glamorous, everyone in their black ties and bow ties, pocket squares and paparazzi. That's really truly when Hollywood had its name in lights. How gorgeous is that? Warner Brothers world premiere. Wow, you can still drive by and see that very theater today. Of course, now it says, stay safe. But it used to say Bette Davis and Errol Flynn. The Fox Wilshire Theater right here, right down the street there in Westwood with none other than Sharon Stone herself. Oh, she's so gorgeous and as gorgeous as ever now as she was then. Absolutely, we've got the Golden Globes right here at the Beverly Hilton. I mean, it's really, truly amazing how much they captured and were able to fill the pages. Zsa Zsa Gabor, and look at her gorgeous Beverly Hills home. The statues, the chaise lounge, the art, even a throw pillow with her dog's portrait on it. Oh, how glamorous. Beverly Hills just oozes glamour. And it oozes humor too. We've got writer and composer Sean Freeberg right here, who lived in this large Spanish style villa. It's really interesting. A lot of the homes in the Beverly Hills area are of Mediterranean inspiration. So many Spanish villas built in the 1920s, French Normandy style chateaus, which are my personal favorite, grace the Bel Air and Beverly Hills, if you will, down those tree-lined streets. It's truly one of the most inspiring places in the world. You know, they don't call it La La Land for a reason. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, they say Beverly Hills is the place where dreams that come true live. And these pages are just absolute proof of that. Here we have a scene right here from the Beverly Hills Hotel pool. Now, of course, the cabanas do look a bit different today, and so do the bikinis, but Lauren Bacall and Gregory Beck were shooting Designing Women at the Beverly Hills Hotel in 1957, right here in these pages. Humphrey Bogart was dying of cancer at their nearby home. So sad. Bacall said that she took the role as a way to distract herself from the pain of her husband's illness, although it's become one of her favorite roles, and I'm sure one of her favorite places in the city, right down the street. And who isn't up for a good game of tennis at the club? Right here, they've got pictures. Let's see if we can get this. Fred Astaire, none other. Not only does he have the moves on the dance floor, but apparently he's got the moves on the tennis court as well. Look at that in those high-waisted pants. Oh, so chic, Fred Astaire in Beverly Hills. Oh, so chic. We've got Kirk Douglas at his home. You know, Beverly Hills in Los Angeles, too, is one of the few places that has done a great job of paying homage to the original characteristics of the homes, not only throughout the Beverly Hills Hotel, the Bel Air Hotel, but right down to the Robinson House, dating back to 1911. And look at that, it is still true to date. 2 years before the city was incorporated, the Robinson House is one of the Beverly Hills' most enduring architectural treasures, perhaps the best known for Virginia Robinson Gardens and a sprawling display of roses, citrus, and rare palm trees. Oh, I wouldn't mind calling that home. That is for sure. Look at this. From the roof, right down the street, the rains are over, the hills are still green, and the valley across the Hollywood Hills, you can see snow on the high mountains. The First Stars are advertising their annual sales, well, not in 2020. And in Beverly Hills, the trees are beginning to bloom. And it is gorgeous. What is so amazing is that on clear days right here in Beverly Hills, if you're driving down Santa Monica Boulevard, in the distance you can see the snow-capped mountains. It's truly incredible. Right here, the Hollywood Hills, as pictured from the Hermitage Hotel. It really is a city that's built in the mountains. It's almost reminiscent of a place in Italy or the south of France. It's no wonder why it became home to so many elite. And the scene from Pretty Woman, anyone who walks in Beverly Hills is a celebrity. Well, let me tell you, if you wear the right thing, you will certainly feel that way. This is an image from one of my favorite movies. The city of Beverly Hills has played a number of starring roles over the years, but perhaps the most memorable was Pretty Woman, I'd say. Starring Julia Roberts and Richard Gere, this modern-day fairy tale of a business executive who falls in love with a prostitute has remained a beloved classic. So right there in that hotel, the Pretty Woman Hotel, if you will, it's actually the Regent Beverly Wilshire on Wilshire, and they've got a great display. If you step through the lobby, just walking down the corridor, right there on the right are some of her wardrobe pieces, her incredible jewelry, and you do feel like you're having a Pretty Woman moment. You really, really, really do. Again, this is the steps of Rodeo Drive right here with some of our favorite stores. Tiffany's just over here on the corner, Versace. They do some great statues right in the middle. It is the perfect spot for an Instagram photo, but more importantly, I hope that you can put your cameras down and be present and take it all in, because there is no other place like it right here in Beverly Hills. Okay, well, interestingly enough, here he is, Warren Beatty himself and his gorgeous, iconic, stunning wife, Annette Bening. Hollywood power couple Annette Bening and Warren Beatty have lived in Beverly Hills for decades. The two are still seen from Bugsy. That's where they met, on the set in 1991. And with that, I will close the book. The spirit of Beverly Hills, the 100th anniversary edition, is certainly one for your coffee table, especially if you find the 90210 as deeply inspiring as I do. It is certainly a place where dreams that have become a reality truly live. Thank you very much for those of you who are watching and engaging. I hope to see you at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Be sure to say hello to me, order that McCarthy salad, have the souffle for dessert, and a dirty martini. Tell your favorite stories of Warren Beatty, and think of me. Thank you again to EverTalk TV and Amazon. Remember to stay safe, shop well, and let Amazon deliver your packages. I'll see you next time.